You're looking at video of one of the last times Oscar winner details this hour about
Gene Hackman has died at the age of 95.
Difficult to put a timeline together, even with the help of the Office of the Medical.
You're watching footage from one of the final moments of Oscar-winning actor Jay. This hour, new details emerge about the unsettling circumstances of his passing. His front door left ajar, prescription pills scattered across the bathroom counter, and, in a haunting discovery, one of his dogs found lifeless in the closet. The tragic news of Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, being found deceased in their Santa Fe, New Mexico, home has sent shockwaves through the world. Yet, what truly unsettled the public was the reaction of one of Gene's 3 children, Leslie Hackman, his daughter from his first marriage. Her cryptic remarks have only deepened the mystery, fueling speculation about what really transpired in the secluded home of one of Hollywood's most revered icons. What was Gene Hackman's final secret? And why, after years of silence, is his family speaking out now? Stay with us as we unravel the chilling truth. Thursday, February 27, 2025. Mr. Hackman and Ms. Arakawa. On February 26, 2025, a chilling discovery was made at the Santa Fe, New Mexico residence of legendary actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa. The couple, along with one of their 3 cherished dogs, was found lifeless inside their home, marking a sorrowful end to Hackman's extraordinary life at the age of 95. The grim scene was uncovered by a maintenance worker who, upon arriving at the residence, was met with an eerie silence. After entering, they stumbled upon the bodies and immediately alerted emergency services. Deputies from the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office arrived shortly after, launching an investigation into the tragic event. Authorities later revealed that the workers' last known contact with the couple had been nearly 2 weeks prior, deepening the mystery of how long they had been deceased. Hackman's body was found in the mudroom, while Arakawa was discovered in a bathroom nearby, both in an advanced state of decomposition. Scattered around them were prescription medications for high blood pressure and thyroid conditions, raising further questions. Among the heartbreaking discoveries was the fate of one of their dogs, a German Shepherd, found lifeless in a closet near Arakawa. However, in a small glimmer of relief, their 2 other dogs were found alive on the property. Investigators noted that Hackman appeared to have collapsed suddenly, and similar indications suggested Arakawa may have suffered the same fate. Early assessments suggested they may have been deceased for several days, possibly up to 2 weeks before their bodies were found. In an effort to rule out external factors, fire department officials inspected the home and found no signs of carbon monoxide leaks. As the inquiry deepened, authorities confirmed on February 27 that there were no immediate signs of foul play, but the precise cause and timing of death remained uncertain. Autopsy results showed no external trauma, and as investigators worked to reconstruct the final days of the couple's lives, a startling revelation emerged. Data retrieved from Hackman's pacemaker indicated that the actor had likely passed away on February 17th, nearly 2 weeks before the discovery of his body. Was no carbon monoxide, and he had the most common cause of death in this country. With many questions still unanswered, the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department continues to piece together the details of this unsettling tragedy. Question that we want answered. That's a very hard determination to make. What led to the deaths of Hackman and Arakawa remains unclear, leaving behind an air of mystery surrounding the final chapter of the Hollywood icon's life. Do you think the death of Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa was of natural causes? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. As investigators work to piece together the final days of the Hollywood legend and his wife, Santa Fe County Sheriff Ma Rodriguez assured the public of a thorough inquiry. Get everything right, we have photographs, we've documented everything that was. We are conducting a comprehensive investigation into the deaths of Mr. Hackman and Ms. Arakawa, he told reporters. We understand the public interest, given Mr. Hackman's stature, but our focus remains on the evidence, and we will follow it wherever it leads. Hackman was married to his first wife, Faye Maltese, for 3 decades, from 1956 until their divorce in 1986. Together they had 3 children, son Christopher and daughters Elizabeth and Leslie. 5 years after the end of his first marriage, 1991, Hackman found love again, marrying Betsy Arakawa, with whom he remained until his passing. Maltese later passed away in 2017. In addition to Elizabeth, Gene Hackman is survived by his eldest son Christopher and his younger daughter Leslie. He and Betsy Arakawa did not have any children together. Hackman kept his personal life largely private, rarely speaking about his children or family dynamics. In a 1989 interview with film critic John C. Tibbets, he reflected on the connection audiences felt with him, attributing it to his everyman appeal. "I like to keep my personal life fairly common," he explained, "so that in my art one can let go and one can soar." His approach to fame was one of deliberate restraint, allowing his work, not his personal affairs, to define his legacy. Their youngest daughter, Leslie Ann Hackman, now 58, recently revealed that she had spoken to her father and stepmother just months before the tragic discovery of their bodies on February 26. Authorities later determined they had been deceased for several days, possibly even weeks. Though Leslie resides in California, hundreds of miles from the couple's lavish Santa Fe estate, she insisted that she and her father had remained deeply connected despite the physical distance. Hackman and Maltese welcomed their youngest child, Leslie Ann Hackman, in October 1966. Like her older siblings, little is publicly known about her life, as the Hackman children have largely remained out of the spotlight. However, glimpses of her relationship with her father surfaced over the years, particularly in moments tied to his work. In a 1984 interview with journalist Bobby Wagenspeak, Hackman reflected on his role in Misunderstood and how it resonated with him as both the father and a son who had experienced a strained relationship with his own father. "They're almost exclusively with me to my children in terms of how I worked on it," he explained. Touching on the themes of miscommunication between parents and children, he revealed that Leslie had seen the film and was deeply moved by it, not because of his involvement, but for its storytelling. She liked it as a film, and she recommended it to her girlfriends, he noted, hopeful that his older children would have a similar reaction. Despite Hackman's guarded approach to his personal life, Leslie was occasionally seen alongside him at major Hollywood events. In January 1984, she accompanied her father to the 41st Annual Golden Globe Awards. Later, they attended the December 1990 premiere of The Godfather Part 3 and the March 1991 premiere of Class Action, offering rare public appearances that hinted at the bond they shared. Leslie Ann Hackman also shared with the Daily Mail that, at 95, her father remained in remarkable physical condition, regularly practicing yoga and Pilates multiple times a week. To her knowledge, he was in good health and had not undergone any major medical procedures in recent months. She spoke warmly of Gene and Betsy's marriage, describing it as wonderful, and crediting her 63-year-old stepmother for, as she put it, keeping him alive. Her words painted a picture of a devoted partnership, making the circumstances of their passing all the more heartbreaking. Hackman's longtime friend, Doug Lanham, reinforced this sentiment, telling TMZ that Betsy played a crucial role in maintaining Gene's health. And he said, he just kind of gave you that she kept him on a strict diet, carefully overseeing his meals and encouraging healthier choices like halibut or rice paper salmon. However, according to Lanham, the legendary actor would occasionally try to indulge in a cheap meal whenever he hung out with Doug. Concerns over his heart health had already influenced a major decision in his life, ultimately leading him to retire from Hollywood in 2004 at the age of 74, stepping away from the spotlight to prioritize his well-being. Now, the Hackman family is grappling with profound grief while awaiting official reports on the cause of death. Initially, Leslie and her older sister, Elizabeth Gene Hackman, speculated that carbon monoxide poisoning may have been responsible. However, authorities found no immediate evidence of a leak, and the local gas company has launched an investigation. The results of Hackman and Betsy's autopsies, along with toxicology reports, remain pending. Let's take a moment to honor their memory. Comment, "R.I.P. Gene," to send your prayers and condolences. Elizabeth Gene Hackman, the daughter of the legendary actor Gene Hackman, and his first wife, Faye Maltese, has spent her life away from the public eye, shunning the glare of Hollywood. Born in August 1962, she is the middle child between her older brother, Christopher Allen Hackman, and younger sister, Leslie Gene Hackman. Despite being part of a family tied to cinematic greatness, Elizabeth has deliberately chosen a life of privacy, rarely stepping into the limelight. According to the New York Post, Gene Hackman and Faye Maltese's marriage was a significant chapter in both their lives, before ending in divorce years before Maltese's passing in 2017. As reported by The Independent, while Elizabeth has long avoided public attention, she was occasionally seen alongside her father during her younger years. One of her rare appearances was at the 1978 screening of Superman, where Gene Hackman mesmerized audiences as the infamous Lex Luthor. Another fleeting glimpse came in 1996 at the premiere of The Chamber, a film in which he played a pivotal role. Beyond these brief moments, Elizabeth has remained an enigma, retreating into a world far removed from the spectacle of Hollywood. Little is known about Elizabeth's personal life, as she, along with her siblings, has maintained an extraordinary level of privacy. Unlike many children of famous figures who embrace the digital age, none of Gene Hackman's children engage publicly on social media or make headlines. Whether Elizabeth or her siblings have married or pursued public endeavors remains a mystery, adding to the intrigue surrounding their lives. Their decision to remain in the shadows has only deepened the air of secrecy, leaving the public with little more than fleeting glimpses into their world, an existence far from the grandeur of their father's cinematic legacy. Despite her preference for privacy, Elizabeth appeared at several public events with her father. As children, she and her younger sister Leslie were once photographed sitting on Hackman's lap at a celebrity baseball game, where he sported a Los Angeles Dodgers jersey. As she grew older, she attended notable Hollywood events, including the December 1978 screening of Superman at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., where her father famously portrayed the villain, Lex Luthor. Years later, in October 1996, Elizabeth was photographed at the Beverly Hills premiere of The Chamber, standing alongside her sister Leslie and stepmother Betsy Arakawa. Following Hackman's passing, Elizabeth spoke to TMZ, revealing that the family initially suspected toxic fumes, such as carbon monoxide, may have played a role in the tragic deaths of her father and stepmother. However, with no immediate evidence of a leak, investigators continue to search for definitive answers. The police report revealed a haunting scene inside the Hackman residence. Officers arrived to find the front door unsecured and ajar, offering the first sign that something was amiss. Inside, an orange pill bottle lay on the floor, its contents spilled across the room, while the couple's two surviving dogs roamed freely through the house. The most chilling detail came in the description of Betsy's body, found in an advanced state of decomposition, mummified and bloated, a stark indication of just how much time had passed before their tragic discovery. In a February 27 press release, the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office confirmed that there were no immediate signs of foul play, forced entry, or theft at the Hackman residence. Authorities also reported no visible external trauma to either Gene or Betsy, leaving the cause of their deaths a lingering mystery. Following his passing, Elizabeth, Leslie, and Hackman's granddaughter, Annie, issued a statement to the New York Post. "It is with great sadness that we announce the passing of our father, Gene Hackman, and his wife, Betsy. He was loved and admired by millions around the world for his brilliant acting career, but to us, he was always just Dad and Grandpa. We will miss him sorely and are devastated by the loss." However, as of now, Leslie has yet to set foot in New Mexico, firmly stating that she would not do so until the police investigation was complete. Instead, on February 27th, just a day after receiving the devastating news of her father and stepmother's passing, she was seen dining with her sister at a Denny's in Burbank, California. According to the Daily Mail, the two appeared composed, even cheerful, raising questions about the depth of their grief. While authorities continue their probe, which could take months, many would expect a devoted daughter to immediately fly out, visit the scene, and oversee funeral arrangements. Yet, Leslie chose a different path. Hackman's grandson, Tim Hackman, also spoke out, shedding light on the fractured ties within the family. He revealed that Leslie was the only one who maintained any form of contact with Gene Hackman in his later years. But even then, their conversations were sporadic, occurring only once every few months. As for Tim himself, the last time he saw his grandfather was over a decade ago, at his own father's funeral. In the end, Gene Hackman spent his final years in near total solitude. Whether by choice or by circumstance remains a haunting mystery. And then, the controversy deepened. Rather than quietly mourning, Leslie sold an exclusive story to the Daily Mail, a tabloid infamous for paying sources to exploit sensational news. The public couldn't help but question her motives. Was she truly devastated by her father's passing, or was she seizing an opportunity to thrust herself into the spotlight? Would a daughter consumed by grief really be negotiating a media deal as the world was just learning of her father's death? The lingering question remains, was her sorrow genuine, or was it merely another transaction? While Hackman appeared to have maintained a connection with his daughters, there has been no public statement from his son. Their relationship had been strained for decades, with an apparent rift dating back to the dissolution of Hackman's first marriage in the 1980s, a distance that seemed to persist until the very end. Christopher Allen Hackman, now 65, was born in 1960. Despite his father's towering presence in Hollywood, Christopher remained largely out of the public eye. However, in rare interviews, Gene Hackman offered glimpses into their relationship, revealing a deeply personal side often unseen by the cameras. In a candid 1984 interview with journalist Lita Poe Drake, when asked if there was ever a moment when he replaced hugs with handshakes as his son grew older, Hackman responded with unwavering certainty, "No, we still hug to this day, and I thank God that we are able to do that." He went on to express his belief in the power of a father's embrace, saying, "I don't think we'll ever reach a point where we have to shake hands." That was a real stretch for me in the film. One of the coldest things a person can do is to be unaware, or worse, indifferent, to a child's need to feel the warmth and protection of a father's arms. Years later, in a 2011 interview with GQ, Hackman reflected on the challenges of balancing his demanding career with fatherhood. When asked if he had ever passed down advice to his son, he admitted, "I lost touch with my son in terms of advice early on." He acknowledged the difficulties of being away on extended film shoots, saying, "Maybe it had to do with being gone so much, filming on location when he was at an age where he needed support and guidance. It was tough to be away for 3 months and then come home and suddenly start telling him what to do." Despite the distance, their bond found unexpected creative intersections. In a 2020 Empire interview, Hackman reflected on his transition from acting to writing, and shared a personal anecdote about Christopher's brief interest in acting. "At one point my son thought he wanted to be an actor and was living in New York," he recalled. "I wrote him a couple of little monologues. I guess that's where I really started. I enjoyed it. Ideas would just pop into my head, and I would write them down." Though Christopher Hackman never pursued a career in the limelight, his father's reflections over the decades painted a picture of a complex, deeply felt relationship. One shaped by love, distance, and the ever-evolving journey of fatherhood. Did you know about Christopher Hackman, the son of Gene Hackman? Comment yes if you've heard about him, or no if this is your first time learning about him. In an era where the children of Hollywood icons often embrace the limelight, the Hackman family stands apart. Elizabeth Hackman and her siblings have deliberately chosen a life away from the public eye, valuing privacy over the allure of fame. Their quiet existence mirrors their father's own retreat from Hollywood, after a storied career that left an indelible mark on the industry. While Gene Hackman's legacy is cemented in cinematic history, his children have carved their own paths in a far more understated manner, proof that the weight of a legendary surname does not dictate one's destiny in the spotlight. Gene Hackman's path to Hollywood greatness, on the other hand, was anything but ordinary. His journey began in 1956 when he took a leap of faith and enrolled at the Pasadena Playhouse in California, determined to pursue acting. It was there that he met fellow aspiring actor Dustin Hoffman. Both men were seen as outsiders, dismissed by their classmates, and even voted least likely to succeed. Hackman, in particular, received the lowest score the school had ever given, a humiliating setback that might have crushed a lesser man. But rather than surrendering to doubt, he turned the rejection into fuel, determined to prove everyone wrong. With unwavering resolve, Hackman left California and moved to New York City, where he endured years of struggle working odd jobs just to make ends meet. He formed deep friendships with Hoffman and Robert Duvall, sharing cramped apartments as they all fought for their break in the industry. His perseverance paid off in 1970 with I Never Sang for My Father, earning him an Academy Award nomination. But it was his gripping portrayal of the relentless detective Jimmy Popeye Doyle in The French Connection, 1971, that catapulted him into stardom. The role won him the Academy Award for Best Actor, solidifying his place among Hollywood's elite. From that moment on, Hackman was unstoppable. The 1970s saw him star in a string of critically acclaimed films, including The Poseidon Adventure and Scarecrow, the latter of which won the prestigious Palme d'Or at Cannes. He collaborated with legendary director Francis Ford Coppola in The Conversation, 1974, and surprised audiences with his comedic talents in Young Frankenstein the same year. By the mid-1980s, Hackman had cemented himself as one of the most sought-after actors in Hollywood, delivering standout performances in Hoosiers, 1986, regarded as one of the greatest sports films of all time. Even as he entered the 2000s, Hackman showed no signs of slowing down. He worked alongside Hollywood heavyweights like Morgan Freeman in Under Suspicion, Keanu Reeves in The Replacements, and Owen Wilson in Behind Enemy Lines. But one of his most unforgettable roles came in The Royal Tenenbaums, 2001, where he portrayed the eccentric patriarch of a dysfunctional family, a performance that earned him a Golden Globe for Best Actor. Once again, he proved his unmatched ability to bring depth and nuance to every character he embodied. However, by 2004, Hackman made the decision to step away from acting. His final film, Welcome to Mooseport, was a lighthearted comedy that stood in contrast to the intensity of his earlier work. Fans held on to hope for a return, but in a 2008 interview, Hackman confirmed his retirement, citing health concerns as a significant factor. Doctors had warned him about the strain acting placed on his heart, prompting him to leave Hollywood behind. Yet, retirement did not mean slowing down. Hackman redirected his creative energy into writing, publishing several novels. Though he stepped away from the screen, he briefly returned to narrate 2 Marine Corps documentaries in 2016 and 2017. Gene Hackman was not just another Hollywood icon. He was a man forged by hardship, defined by resilience, and ultimately left to wrestle with the weight of his own solitude. He built a career on grit and defiance, never yielding to failure, never allowing the world to see him broken. Yet, in a cruel twist of fate, he'd left this world in silence. After his departure from Hollywood in 2004, Hackman chose a life far removed from the glare of cameras and the deafening applause of an industry he once ruled. In Santa Fe, New Mexico, he and his wife Betsy lived simply, away from the clamor of fame. No red carpets, no flashing bulbs, just the quiet existence of a man who had spent decades in the spotlight, now seeking something more elusive than success: peace. But was it truly peace he found? His last known public appearance was in 2023, dining with Betsy at a local restaurant. The images captured an aging man, frail yet still exuding the quiet strength of a battle-worn warrior. The years had worn him down, but they had not erased the essence of the fighter within him. And yet, in his final moments, there were no children gathered around his bedside, no whispered farewells from loved ones. He slipped away unnoticed. The people who once mattered either lost to time or pushed away by his own hands. Gene Hackman's passing was more than the end of a Hollywood legend. It was a stark testament to the loneliness of a man who had endured too much, lost too often, and in the end, faced the ultimate question. Was it fate that abandoned him, or had he chosen this solitude himself? In the end, Gene Hackman's legacy is one of brilliance, mystery, and deep personal struggles. His daughter's revelations have given us a rare glimpse into the man behind the Hollywood legend. A father, a husband, and a figure shaped by both triumph and heartache. As the world reflects on his life and the secrets that remained hidden for so long, one thing is certain: Gene Hackman's impact on cinema